All right, so today we're going to learn about comparatives and superlatives. So comparativos y superlativos. So basically ways in which we can compare two things that are the same or things that are different. So anything that is on a blue screen, you're going to copy down on your paper. So you're going to get out a blank piece of paper, you're going to copy down these notes, and then when you're done copying down the notes, you're going to take a picture of them and submit them on Canvas. So if anything is on the blue screen, you're going to write it down. So, ¿cómo comparamos en español? How do we compare things? So the first way we're going to compare things is to tell how things are similar. So we're going to use the word tan plus an adjective plus como to compare people and things. So that's to say as tall as pretty as smart as. And when we do that, the adjective must agree in gender and number with the noun it modifies. So, for example, if you're talking about a girl, your adjective is going to end in an A. If you're talking about a guy, it's going to end in an O, or the other rules we know about gender and number. So, for example, esta estatua es tan bonita como la otra. This statue ending in an A is as pretty as the other. So, statue ends in A, so bonita ends in A. Estos dibujos son tan antiguos como los que vimos ayer. These drawings are as old as the ones we saw yesterday. So as old as. Dibujos ends in OS, so antiguos ends in OS. And then one more example. Esta torre no es tan alta como la de Morelia. This tower is not as tall as the one from Morelia. Tower is feminine. So esta torre, tower is feminine, so alta is feminine. So again, we're using tan plus an adjective plus como to say that something is as pretty, big, whatever, as something else. Next, to say something is more than something else, like something's taller, something's longer, something's smarter. To compare something that is more than something else, like bigger, taller, etc., where we use that ER in English, we're going to use the word más, which means more, plus an adjective plus K. So, for example, este chico es más guapo que el otro. This boy is more handsome than the other. Más guapo que, more handsome than. So since chico is masculine, guapo is masculine. La Torre Pisa es más alta que la Torre Eiffel. So the Eiffel Tower is taller, or the Tower of Pisa is taller than the Eiffel Tower. So in English, we would say taller. We have that ER, but in Spanish, we don't have that ER. So we say more tall than. And that will work with all adjectives in Spanish except for four. And we'll get to those four later. All right, what if something is less than something else? You probably know the word menos already. So we're going to say, to compare something as less than something else, we're going to use the word menos, less, plus whatever that adjective is, plus K. So this boy is less handsome than the other. Este chico es menos guapo que el otro. So menos plus an adjective plus K. Less handsome than the other. Next, la Torre Eiffel es menos alta que la Torre de Pisa. So the Eiffel Tower is less tall than the Tower of Pisa. So we have tan plus an adjective plus como to say as something as big as. We have más plus an adjective plus K to say more than, like bigger than, more big than. Then we have menos plus an adjective plus K to say less, whatever than. All right, so that's how we compare things to say that they're similar or different. But our next thing is superlatives, and that's when we say something is the most or least. So instead of saying this is, he is smarter than the other guy, we want to say he is the smartest. So there are two kinds of superlatives we're going to use to say the most or the least of something. One uses the word el, la, los, or las, so the word for the, plus más or menos, just depending on if you want to say more or less, then your adjective, then de, to mean the most or the least of something. So, la Torre Eiffel es la más alta de todas las que he visto. The Eiffel Tower is the most tall of the ones I have seen, or the tallest. So we don't have that EST part in Spanish. So we're literally saying the most tall of all. You could do the same thing with least. You could say el menos alta or la menos alta de as well. Another type of superlative is to add isimo to the end of an adjective. So isimo, isima, isimos, isimas to the end of an adjective to form a superlative that intensifies the meaning of the adjective. So we could say something is muy grande, very big. But what if we want to say very, very big? In Spanish, we don't do muy, muy. Instead, we add isimo to our adjective to make it even stronger. So we could say, la casa es grande. La casa es muy grande. It's very big. La casa es grandísima. It's super big. This example, la exposición de arte contemporáneo es buenísima. So the contemporary art exhibit is really, really good. We could say la exposición es buena. It's good. Es muy buena. It's very good. Es buenísima. It's really, really good. All right, so these are just some examples. You don't have to write these down. If it's on this gray screen, you don't have to write it down. But just to see some examples. La casa es grande. The house is big. El granero es más grande que la casa. But the barn is literally more big than the house. We would say bigger in English. But then the castle is the biggest. El castillo es el más grande de todos. So it is the most big of all, or the biggest of all. So here's another example with pretty. Esta flor es bonita. So just this flower is pretty. Esta flor es más bonita que la otra. So this flower is literally more pretty than, or prettier than, the other. But this flower, esta flor es la más bonita del jardín. It is the prettiest of, literally the most pretty of the garden. All right, we can also do that with menos. So this is ferocious. Este dinosaurio es feroz. This dinosaur is ferocious. But este dinosaurio es menos feroz que el otro. He is less ferocious than the other. But this one with his tongue sticking out, este dinosaurio es el menos feroz del mundo. He is the least ferocious in the world. Okay, so I told you that all adjectives in Spanish work with the más adjective que, menos adjective que. They all do except for these four. So these four, bueno, malo, viejo y joven, tienen formas de comparativos y superlativos irregulares. So they are also, some of them are also irregular in English. So bueno means good. So we're not going to say something is more good than something else. Instead, we'll say it's better. So el libro es bueno. Este libro es mejor que el otro libro. Or este es el mejor libro. So instead of saying más bueno que, mejor que. Then the opposite of that, malo, bad, so peor is worse. So esta clase es peor que la otra. This class is worse than the other. Esta es la peor clase. This is the worst class. So instead of saying, I can't even make myself say it, el más malo, el peor. Viejo is old, and you've probably used the word mayor before for older to talk about brothers and sisters. So ella es vieja, pero mi abuela es mayor que ella. So grandma is older than her. Joven, young. Menor, younger or youngest. So yo soy la menor de mi familia. I am the youngest of my family. All right, so just some examples with those. La manzana es buena. The apple is good. El plátano es mejor que la manzana. But the banana is better than the apple. Las cerezas son las mejores de todas las frutas. But cherries are the best of all the fruits. So instead of saying más bueno que, we use mejor que. Okay, same thing with malo. El chocolate caliente es malo. I don't believe that, but hot chocolate is bad. El té es peor que el chocolate caliente. So tea is worse than hot chocolate. And el café es el peor de todas las bebidas calientes. Coffee is the worst of all hot drinks. Not true, but you can see the example. All right, viejo, old. El abuelo es viejo, so grandpa's old. El padre es mayor que la madre, but dad is older than mom. And then our superlative, el abuelo es el mayor de la familia. He is the oldest of the family. And then finally, young. Los hijos son jóvenes. The kids are young. But la madre es menor que el padre. Mom is younger than, so comparative, dad. But el hijo es el menor de todos. So he is the youngest of all. All right, and how do we do it if we've got numbers in there? Just one more little added note. If we want to say more than, hay más de 5 elefantes. There are more than 5 elephants. Hay menos de 7 elefantes. There are less than 7 elephants. So just a little added bonus to say more than, less than with numbers, just because it's a little different than our comparatives and superlatives. All right, so you're going to use those comparatives and superlatives to compare art and artists. So before you go on to the next activity, when we're comparing art and artists, we might talk about Botero's art. And we might say, las pinturas de Botero son más cómicas que las pinturas de Velázquez. So Botero's paintings are funnier than the paintings of Velázquez. Or las pinturas de Velázquez son más realistas que las pinturas de Botero. So Velázquez's paintings are more realistic than the paintings of Botero. Las pinturas de Botero son las más cómicas de todas las pinturas. So Botero's paintings are the funniest of all the paintings. Okay, so after you have finished taking your notes, make sure you have all the notes written down from all of the blue slides. Take a screenshot of those or take a picture of those and upload those to Canvas. All right, let me know if y'all have questions.